Wir starten ein neues Format. Heute geht's los mit einem Kollegen von mir, Athletiktrainer aus Spanien. Viel Spaß beim Video. So, wie gerade gesagt, starten wir hier mal ein neues Format, und zwar werde ich jetzt versuchen, in regelmäßigen Abständen Experten hier reinzubekommen und dann ein kurzes Interview mit ihnen zu führen für euch, um deren Expertise nochmal für euch darzulegen, ein paar wertvolle Tipps auch für euch abzuholen. Und wir fangen an mit einem Kollegen von mir, mit dem ich damals in Spanien studiert habe. Er war damals schon als Athletiktrainer bei Ferrero in der Akademie, war eine kurze Zeit bei Muratoglu auch in der Akademie, musste leider weg aufgrund der Pandemie. Jetzt ist er wieder unterwegs in Spanien in der Akademie, trainierter Profispieler, teilweise im Bereich Top 100 bis Top 300 auch. Und da werden wir ein bisschen mit ihm drüber sprechen, was seiner Meinung nach wichtig ist, was das Thema Athletik im Tennis angeht. Und da wünsche ich euch jetzt viel Spaß beim Video. Du möchtest an deinem Spiel arbeiten, du möchtest ein ganzes Wochenende Vollgas geben, Technik verbessern, Taktik verbessern, auch ein bisschen über die mentalen Aspekte im Tennis, dich nochmal da in deinem Spiel verbessern, dann melde dich bei uns an für einen Intensivkurs, geh 3 Tage hintereinander ein ganzes Wochenende mit mir auf dem Platz, arbeite, wie gesagt, an deiner Technik, Taktik, an deiner Athletik, an deine mentale Stärke. Wir machen das Ganze Freitag, Samstag, Sonntag wirklich auf dich zugeschnitten, gerne auch mit Videoanalyse, und dass wir uns wirklich da Zeit für dich nehmen, dass wir da Gas geben, dass du auch in die neue Sommersaison perfekt vorbereitet starten kannst. Also wie gesagt, schau unten in der Beschreibung nach, klick auf den Link, melde dich bei mir für einen Intensivkurs. Ich freue mich, mit dir auf den Platz zu gehen.
Okay, Joan, let's start with our short interview. We know each other from the university in Spain when I met you the first time, and I remember you began training in soccer, and now we're still in contact, and now you are at a very good academy in Spain training tennis athletics. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about your tennis vita. How does it come that you're now a tennis athletics fitness trainer? Tell us something about that.
Yes, first of all, always a pleasure to talk with you, Patrick, to talk about what I love the most, that is tennis. But as you said, we met in the university. And yes, for sure, I start training soccer, but I always love tennis. And yes, I've been working in different tennis academy, like Juan Carlos Ferrero Academy in Villena or Moratoglu in France. Now, as you said, I'm working in a tennis academy in Alicante with high performance tennis players. And yes, I work as a fitness coach with some players like Alessandro Giannessi, who play this week qualies of Australia Open, Vidal Azorin, who is playing this month at challenger level, and other players like Jana Sitsikova or Chantal. And yes, I love working on this, and yes, for me it's something special to work in what I love the most.
Okay, perfect. You mentioned that you work with players. For example, this week we talked about a player that is playing at the Australian Open, as you mentioned. And now, as you mentioned that you work as a physical trainer, tell us the role of athletic training in tennis, not only for the professional level, but also for the level like our level, like intermediate players or beginner players.
Yes, all we know that tennis is a demanding sport from a physical perspective with a lot of impact on the joints. And the scientific evidence tells us that to work on athletics is important because it helps to reduce the risk of injury, improve strength level, and as a result of this, improve power and a lot of more benefit that stamina and flexibility. And lastly, enhance speed and change of direction. So I think it's important to work on athletic, not because you are an elite player, no, like a recreative player or just for fun, because it's important to be healthy. And if we want to play some sport, we need to prepare our body to play free pain. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course. Yes, as we see, as tennis is evolving, we see that tennis gets faster and faster every year. We see that the athletes really are, they have to be flexible. Like you see Novak Djokovic when he's getting to the balls, almost, I don't know, he's doing a split almost. And yes, and you mentioned that you need also technical elements in the athletic training. So, for example, you mentioned the footwork that we have in tennis. So can you tell us some specific movements that we have to keep an eye on?
Yes, for sure. All we know that in tennis there are two different types of techniques. We have lateral shuffle and front crossover step. These two footwork patterns we need to use. I mean, lateral shuffle, we use this kind of pattern when we need to recover short distance. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And when the player is performing this kind of pattern, the player doesn't cross his leg at any time. This is the lateral shuffle, when we need to cover short distance. And on the other hand, we have the front crossover step that the player will perform this footwork when we need to faster responses and to cover longer distance. And these are the difference between one and another, lateral shuffle and front crossover step.
Okay, perfect. Last week I saw a post of you on Instagram. I will mention it down below in the description. And you trained with the player the COD, so the change of directions. So why is it important to work on this specific movements?
Yes, I mean, to work on this kind of aspect, for me, from my point of view, I think is important for any player at any level, because when I start training tennis players at any level, one thing I notice the most is the lack of work they have been doing on the court. So I think this kind of aspect is important, because if the difference between a good player or an elite tennis player, I think, is to be ready or to hit the next ball. So for me, I think these small details is important for any player at any level, because we need to prepare early to hit the next ball, because as you said before, tennis is nowadays faster and faster, and the ball comes to you faster. It doesn't matter the level, I think, for professional or for amateur level, but we need to work on these kind of things, because if not, we are going wrong.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. As you mentioned it, I always feel the same when I'm on court. When I really do high intensity with my footwork, then my game is a lot better. I can step up my game. And if I'm a little bit lazy with my footwork, I know in the next moment that there will be some trouble with the shot. So it's very important to have a high intensity in tennis with the footwork. So as you mentioned before, maybe you can give us some 2 simple exercises for the people that are watching that they can do on the court, on their own, or at home. Do you have some examples for us?
Yes, I will share you the videos later, but I'm going to explain now. I'm going to be clear to understand, but it's easy. I usually do this kind of exercise, basics. I do with elite players, with amateur players, because sometimes the basic is the thing you need to work the most, you know? So we need to set the distance of 4 meters. We set this distance, and the only thing we need to do is just the steps I said before: lateral shuffle and crossover step. Just moving from one cone to another cone, doing lateral shuffle on crossover step. How I do? First, I start doing lateral shuffle, and once I master this, we go to front crossover step. I usually do 2 blocks of each. Each block, I do 4 reps of 20 seconds work, 20 seconds rest. And things we need to focus when we do this kind of exercise. For sure, good intensity, because if we don't work with right intensity, we are going wrong. When we reach the cone, we need to go down with the legs, because if not, we are not doing properly. And the thing for me is the most important: when we reach the cone, explosive recover to the opposite cone. I don't know if I'm being clear or not, but I think this kind of 2 exercises, they are easy, and we can do it anywhere on the court, on a small place. I don't know, but I think this kind of exercises, they are easy, and it's important to work.
Yes, perfect. So you mentioned the intensity has to be there. We have to have the same demands that we have in matches. So for example, quick recovery, like 20 seconds, as you have the breaks between the balls, or between the, how's it called? Yeah, between the points.
Yes,
yeah.
I think I didn't tell you, but without racket. First,
without racket.
Yes.
Okay.
First, we need to do this kind of exercises without racket, because the most thing, the thing we need to focus on is on the right steps, lateral shuffle and front crossover steps.
Okay, perfect. Okay, nice. So I guess we will mention the video of these exercises below here. So we have a link to your video, so all the people that are interested in these exercises can watch the videos. So the last question, you told us an exercise. The last questions is, what's next for you? What are your plans? Where you're going to in the future? And yeah, tell us something about that.
I think my main goal as a fitness coach, I think, is not to get a stronger player. I'm not telling you that it's not important to go to the gym and lift weights, but I think it's more important to get efficient tennis players. So we need to set right exercises for the tennis player by using the logical, because sometimes, I told you before, the basics are the key for the tennis player. So I think my main goal as a fitness coach is to enhance the performance of the player. You know what I mean?
And what are your personal goals? What is coming next? Are you going to a bigger academy, or are you trying to get a professional player that you can travel with, or what is your purpose for the future?
For the moment, I'm really happy to be working where I am, for sure, but it's important to have your goals. And yes, for sure, I'm going to travel with players. But at the moment, as I told you, for me, the most important thing is to be better one day, one by another. You know what I mean?
Yes.
To be better fitness coach for the tennis player.
Okay, very nice. Okay, thank you, Joan, that you've been here telling us your story about your relationship to tennis and how's it going right now. And thanks for sharing your exercises. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to Joan. I will also link down the Instagram link to his account. And I would say thanks for watching. If you like the video, leave a subscription here, thumbs up here, and then we see each other the next time. Thanks.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Hope you all enjoy. Bye.
Thanks.